So you want to be an it girl?
Welcome, you guys. I'm so excited to have Linda and Erica from Fashion Kush with us. You guys have no idea how excited I am to have you on the podcast. You have an amazing dynamic between the two of you. You have an amazing brand, and I'm just so excited to learn so much. So welcome to the show. We're so happy to have you.
Thank you so much for having us. We're excited to be here. Today's National Women's Day. So,
ooh, we love that.
I know.
We love
National Women's Day.
Yeah.
So let's jump right into it. So Linda, you are the COO, and Erica, you are the CEO of your brand.
Yes.
And you are literally a mother-daughter duo who has a weed merchandising brand.
Yes.
Yeah. There's so much to unpack. Tell us how that came to be.
So, well, my mom and I would say we're best friends.
Sure.
It's a podcast. They can't hear you whispering, but we are. I would say,
of course, we're mother and daughter first.
We're mother and daughter first, but we are best friends.
I have to be a mother.
Yes.
I can't just be a friend.
Exactly. And I've always involved her in like creative parts of my business, which is Fashion Lush. I've been blogging and creating content for 10 years. And my mom is a very creative person as well. And I think that you really like the business of influencing and content creation. Like it's really interesting to you. So I've always involved her. And we were sitting at my kitchen table and we were talking about like, what's the next move? Because although I do think content creation and social media will continue on for influencers and creators, enough of the hand.
Messing up my whole thing. Just a lot of that.
Although I do think that it will continue on. I think that for content creators, and this was 2 years ago, but that's around the time where I really got on this, like everyone who's in this business needs to have something else. Like what are they, they need to have something that's going to
You need a second job.
You need a second job, but like you're building, this was the conversation we were having at that time, is like, you're building this brand of people, but your job is to market other people's products, and you've got like this huge audience. So we were just talking like, what is the next move for Fashion Lush? Like, what is it? I want to do something that's ours. And my mom just goes, well, what about Fashion Kush?
Yeah. Let's roll a joint and talk about it.
Yeah. And that was
voila.
We got out a pad of paper that day. We started taking notes on what we wanted to do, our to-do list, how to get things up and running.
Well, we were rolling on that paper.
We were rolling. We were using our to-do list to roll a joint.
It's got a dual use. We love it.
But we did. We started brainstorming that day, and we just kind of all gas, no brakes, went for it. And here we are today.
I love that.
Driving, hanging out.
Yeah. All gas, no brakes.
Yeah.
We love a no gas, no brakes. I also love how you're like multitasking. You're doing a to-do list that needs to be used. So you're keeping it fresh.
Yeah, exactly.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
So, like, I know so many people that are best friends and like they can't even live together, but you two are literally a mother-daughter duo who work together. Like, tell us about that. Like, what is that relationship like working together?
I love it.
Sometimes we have different styles.
Yes.
Like, when we're working or doing something like our own recordings, I like to sit at a desk and I like to have a table. And, Erica's okay to just hang on the floor, get comfy and start talking. So, we have different styles. She's the creative. She's also the techie.
Yeah.
I'm more of the tag along, and I have a lot of good ideas, but she brings them to fruition. She makes them happen.
I think that it's interesting because, obviously there's a difference in age.
She's older. I'm going to work with her anyway.
But we do have a lot of the same like creative visions, and like I mean, my mom she's look at her in her plaid blazer.
I know.
Like, hipper than I am. So
I'm like in a hoodie and I'm like, oh, hello,
I know she
Linda.
shows up in this ensemble that's to die for. So she really does come to me with like ideas in the news that I'm not even looking at that are she'll send me like articles on like the newest weed trends of 2022. Like that's one of your strengths. I will also say, as in terms of like, I am more creative and more techie. I'm good behind the computer. She is good talking to people. So any phone calls that need to be made, she's calling. She's doing sales. She's doing all those things. She's more sociable, less social anxiety than I'd have.
Yeah, way less.
Way less.
So let's talk a little bit about the space, like the weed industry. I mean, other than like Fashion Kush, especially going back like 3 or 4 years is like pretty like male marketed. Like there's not a lot of girly things out there. Like how did you like find the balance of like having this Instagrammable look and also like marketing to the correct stoner group?
Well, you're exactly right. There isn't a space for
Women.
cute things, fun things, fashionable, cool things for women when it comes to smoking dope. There really isn't. And so it was kind of an easy sort of opening to say, wow, I'd love to see cute sweatshirts. Boy, I'd love to see fun things, whether it be certain rolling papers or pipes that are really interesting and maybe female oriented. That is, that's the fun of it.
Yeah.
You can go anywhere and buy a little pipe, but today I think people want more.
Yeah.
They want something cooler. So many people can smoke dope now. And like anything else that's popular, it turns fashionable.
Yeah.
So, you got to provide.
I think, it was interesting because when we had that initial conversation at Fashion Kush, the audience was always going to be women, and the space was always going to be women who wanted to have fashionable weed accessories in their home. And one thing I remember we were talking about is if you had people coming over, you don't want your boyfriend's dirty bong in the corner.
No.
You want the bong that you can turn around and it looks like a flower vase.
People say, wow,
that's a cool piece of art. Like, things that aren't going to attract the negative attention. I think that the other side of that is there is stigmas and connotations attached to cannabis consumption. Like, you're a lazy stoner, you're dirty, you're this, you're that, you're the other thing. And what more represents that than a dirty bong in the corner of your house? Like, that's not what we wanted. We wanted to take the stigma out of weed, which I think with our apparel, that's really the mission there, because it's, I remember saying, like, when we came out with the Keep Your Standards as High as You Are sweatshirt, I remember saying, like, what if people don't want to wear this in public because of the stigma attached? And later that day, my husband and I were in the grocery store, and in front of me in line, she was wearing the sweatshirt. And I was like, we fucking did it. Like, we did it. That's what we wanted. We wanted people to wear the sweatshirt and not feel like, ooh, is she going to say anything? Like, I mean, I wear my Successful Stoner sweatshirt all the time, and every time I wear it, always, I love your sweatshirt. Where'd you get it?
Always get the thumbs up when you wear it. The Successful Stoner, or Keep Your Standards as High as You Are. People are looking to relate, and like it or not, a lot of us do relate on that level of smoking dope, whether we're from the 70s or the 80s, the 90s. I mean, this has been a long time coming.
Yeah.
And so this is just a way of just breaking through and just saying it's here.
Yeah. And it's awesome. I mean, there's nothing better than like wearing the sweatshirt or wearing the t-shirt or wearing, of course, I know how to roll a joint t-shirt, and someone being like, yep. Because it's also very cool to see the people who are giving you a thumbs up. You wouldn't expect that person to be giving me a thumbs up, but they are. Yeah. It's like, it's a similar experience when you walk into a dispensary today. You see all walks of life.
Right. For something that was so underground for so long, like it is nice to see this change. And that's something I like so much about Fashion Kush, is that this, like, it's really trying to change the stigma of like, this is, you know, in most states, this is a very legal thing. Like, you know, it isn't dirty, messy, or even just like negative, you know.
No.
I think that's like something a lot of people get lost into, that it's still such a drug, and it's like,
Right.
it is, but like,
It's grown.
Well,
right.
I think it's important to realize it's not a crime. This
Mhm.
is no longer a crime or criminal offense, particularly in a good portion of the country. For us, where we live, it is far from a crime. And we're addressing that in some projects that we're doing with a group called the Last Prisoners Project.
Mhm.
There are many, many, many people sitting in jail for marijuana offenses from 20 years ago. So
Yeah.
these are things that a lot of people don't realize. I mean, the jails are filled with these folks.
Mhm.
And obviously we don't think that's right, as most people don't. And we're doing an upcoming collab with them to keep that in the limelight.
Yeah, I mean, I think that like, you know, it is very fun and kitschy, our brand. And I think that with the age of Instagram and social media and aesthetics, like, and I love aesthetics, like, you know, now people buy things because, oh my God, that'd be so cute to take a photo
Yep.
of. Like,
Mhm.
you know, that will be the sole reason. So yes, it's a very fun and kitschy brand. But I think, well, I know from the very beginning, it was always important for us to remain cognizant that like, it is a privilege that we have to run a cute and kitschy cannabis brand as to, you know, white women. Like, you know, there's a lot going on in this world, and we're very excited to be working with the Last Prisoner Project on this upcoming collaboration to educate our audience, to raise funds, to support them, and just to bring awareness to the fact that there are so many people, and disproportionately people of color, sitting in jail right now for something that we all consume legally every day. And like, you walk into, you know, I always say, you walk into a dispensary and it looks like an Apple store, but people are in jail for this. Like, it, you know, it just, so that is something
You're saying that we are somewhat privileged or lucky to be able to talk about this,
yes.
as you pointed out, as two white women.
Yes.
And we say that because it seems to be, like you said, people of color unjustly sitting in jail for these offenses, whether they cannot afford representation or whatever the situation is. So yeah, I do feel that it's maybe even a bit of our responsibility to say, hey, people, this is fun. This is great. All these items are great. But in another sense, this is a pretty sad situation for people. Let's not forget them.
Right. And I'm so glad we acknowledged that, because I think there is such a flip side of like, you know, the weed industry is very cool, very trendy now, you know, everyone loves that vibe. But also, yes, we do need to acknowledge the history of how we got here, and like, you know, go back, correct our problems, work to change them. So it's so great to hear that you guys like have this, you know, amazingly kitschy brand, and then also are using it to have a social impact. So I love that you guys are a mother-daughter relationship, and like, you know, that is, you know, for some people, young adults will just say having a parent conversation about weed is like kind of awkward. Like, how did that come around between you two?
It's so interesting because I still get messages like, oh my God, like my mom would never, you know, and that's like, when I think of that and like, like, I don't get it. Like, that's like, you know, I don't really envision us sitting and drinking together. So that's not something we do.
I'm not.
But lots of mothers and daughters will sit and drink together. But oh my God, smoke weed
Like
together?
I think about that. I was almost too honest with my mother about the amount I was drinking in college. But like, I was out of college before me and my mom even talked about weed, and like, it was already very legal. Like, it's so interesting.
Right. Well, it's funny. My parents were in the wholesale liquor business. So liquor and drinking and whiskey, it was not off put or anything. I mean, it was there. It just didn't do it for me particularly.
And it doesn't do it for me.
And I had an older brother raised during those crazy years in the 70s. And he came home from college, and I see his new look, an afro as big as the world. And I just, there was a new world that just opened up.
Well, in context, her older brother was much older, and so he brought home a joint, I believe.
Well, there was that too. There was a joint he pulls out at the dining room table.
Oh my God.
And and we're laughing. And there's a little bit from my mom of, oh my God.
Yeah.
But once she got past that, we passed around that joint. I believe my mom just took a little sniff. Although later in her life, I remember she got high with my brother and his girlfriend. She was sitting there kind of blitzed, and she says, "This is great. Can we do this again?" So she evolved.
Right.
And she has since passed away, but she had one hell of a time those few times when she enjoyed getting high. What was wrong with that?
Yeah, I mean, I think that for my mom and I, there would be like a stigma associated with that. Like I had this like really lax mom who was like this California hippie. No, I won't. Let me talk on this one. My mom was strict. We did not talk about, she was the type of person that was like, if you're going to be drinking, you can always call me. I will pick you up. You never have to be scared. I won't be mad at you. If any of like that. But she wasn't like, sure, everyone pull out a joint in the house and let's all smoke with my friends at 16. No. I would consider my mom she had to be a little more strict with me than my sister because I was a little bit of a wild card. But I knew she smoked weed because I found her stash, and it was kind of the situation of putting water in your parents' vodka bottle, except there was really no water that I could put in a bag of weed. But because she didn't want to have the conversation that she smoked weed, she would never really confront me that I was taking her weed.
I probably didn't notice about that. I mean, back in that day,
I just smoked a lot of weed.
This is a funny story. My brother was doing a science project, and he told my mother, this is a plant that I have to grow for my science class.
Mhm.
So I'm going to be real busy, of course, in my life running around. Mom, would you take care of it? You need to water it a couple times a week. You need to this, a little this. My mom grew one hell of a plant.
Yeah.
I tell you. Huh?
I'm so
One
proud
heck
of
of a
her.
plant.
That's so funny. I have like a brown thumb. I tried to like grow mint because I was using it in my smoothies every day. Yeah, it's really.
No, I
really
haven't.
hard.
We've tried. My husband can grow some good weed, but we haven't done that.
Yeah.
It's hard.
But yeah, I mean, I think that it didn't really come up until I was over the age of 18.
Probably.
And then I think at
that point we got tired of hiding it, going in the closet to smoke or whatever, put the towel under the door.
This is my.
By that point, they're going to be smoking. So, I mean, who are we kidding?
Yeah.
And all the moms that people say, oh, whoa, if only my mom knew. Well, I got to tell you.
Your mom knows.
I'm thinking your mom was smoking. That was the point. She might not tell you. But your mom was smoking.
Your mom was smoking out back with Linda.
Got on a sweatshirt. Your mom was out back smoking with Linda.
Yeah.
It happens.
I think that
I did have to bring a joint one time to the Girl Scout meeting. Well, yes, because we all went on an overnight.
To the Girl Scout trip.
To the Girl Scout trip, yes. And I saw no reason not to bring a joint and share it with my Girl Scout mothers. So
when all the Girl Scouts
they joined in,
when all the Girl Scouts went to sleep, and it's funny because a lot of those Girl Scouts, I know that they would still say to this day, my mom would never. And my mom was like, yes, she would.
Oh, yeah.
And you were probably the most popular troop in all of California.
Oh, yeah.
Well, we were a happy troop. We were a very happy troop. We sold more cookies than any other troop in the world. We ate most of them.
That's true.
But yeah, we did. The mothers.
That's a good business collab. They should get on that.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. This is a whole new world for the Girl Scouts.
Yeah.
I'm going to be working with them. Don't worry.
That's good. I love that. Obviously you two have smoked together plenty of times. Do you guys have a fun high story that you guys love to tell that happened to you two?
Oh God.
One.
You can tell me a couple.
We've had, I'll tell you what, sometimes we have to go to LA.
Mm-hmm.
And, we'll be driving around LA. We'll park usually and, take a few hits and then, go off on a little excursion.
We're adventure
yes.
stoners. I'm trying to think of like a
adventure
particular
stoners.
Adventure stoners.
Yeah.
Oh,
they have a special section for us at REI. Adventure stoners.
I'm trying to think.
Certain section.
Every time that we always go on adventures. We always do funny things. My mom's players were always laughing. One funny story that comes to mind is when you were walking through the airport security and you were eating your Cheez-Its.
Mm-hmm.
And like literally walking through security, eating these Cheez-Its, this bag of Cheez-Its. You wouldn't take it out of your hand. And then we get the security and then I started eating the Cheez-Its. And then everyone's eating the Cheez-Its.
As we go through airport security.
And they're weed Cheez-Its.
There you go. I was just wondering when you were going to talk about the real Cheez-Its.
There were weed Cheez-Its. And so she got everyone stoned at the airport. And she just put them in a Ziploc bag. In her
Right.
I was like, they're not going to stop me. I'm a mom.
Exactly.
They're not going to stop me in my Cheez-Its.
Well, when you think about it today, to take edibles on a plane is pretty darn simple.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's like
this is not legal advice.
But it is not legal advice. And if you go to Russia to play basketball, never take any kind of drug, cannabis oil, anything. Forget it. They will get you. And that's not funny.
No. Don't take
that's
it.
Not it. That's
no,
not
but
it.
she is right. The weed Cheez-Its, no one would have ever thought. I didn't know. I don't like edibles. So I got kind of fooled there. I didn't like edibles.
You got played.
I got played. My other favorite story is, I think this was like a month or 2 months ago. And I've, for my whole life, I've kind of recounted to people how back in the day, my mom used to be this master meditator. And I've told people my
Maharishi mom.
I was like, this woman used to meditate like you wouldn't believe. And I was telling my husband this story. And then my mom came over. And so then Zach was telling my mom, like, oh yeah, Erica was telling me the other day that you used to like go into your closet and meditate for like an hour and a half when she was a kid. And my mom looked at me and she's like, that's what you thought I was doing in there?
Meditation
for all of these years. And I would go around to people, oh yeah, Linda, she used to be like doing Bikram and meditating and all these things. No, she was just smoking her joint away from her children.
Yeah, but I felt that's meditation. That's mom meditation.
It actually is.
Yeah, there's no right way to meditate. Like I'm debunking that this year there's no right way to meditate. Like I literally believe cleaning is meditating. So that is meditation, Linda. We're taking it.
Yeah.
I love that.
Absolutely.
I'd be like so phony if I didn't acknowledge this, but like we've talked about how it's literally the perfect brand for stoners. And like this month on the podcast, we're really focused on the idea of kind of, are you under the influence, which just applies to this in so many ways that I didn't intend. But like, this is a very Instagrammable brand. And like, how do you manage to stay Instagrammable, but have your own unique flavor on it?
I think that, just one thing of my history of a content creator and a blogger and an influencer is what is Instagrammable is second nature to me now. It's just eat, sleep, breathe. So when creating a brand, always at the forefront of my mind is like, what is something someone's going to want to take a picture of? Like, I don't want to take a picture of a pipe or just a regular joint rolled in raw papers. Like, I don't want to take a picture of that. What would I want to take a picture of? And then just in terms of keeping our own spin on it is we aren't basic. We're just not basic. Our style's not basic. Our vision's not basic. Like, I could never, like, for me, it's like, it's either it's really, really cool or it's out.
Totally.
So.
And Linda, how do you feel like about the Instagram space? I mean, we know Erica's had like this huge journey with it. So
it's it's been incredible to watch Erica and some of her colleagues as they find themselves in this world of social media. It's interesting because I don't know how far it will go. I don't know if people always want to watch other people doing things. I don't know. It's funny when Erica goes out, as anybody on social media today, I'll say the majority of people, you go out and you think about how you look. Because when people see you, they have seen you behind a screen with very probably a filter. I mean, if any of us actually believe that these beautiful people look this way day after day after day in each moment of their lives, it's not true. We don't have to equal the way they look.
Yeah, I think
it will tear people apart eventually. And I've seen numerous things in the news of late with younger Instagrammers who some of them are committing suicide.
Because
some
of
of
the
them are done. And I think about it and I think, whoa.
Well,
what could it be?
You know, I think it's just it's definitely a whole new world for I'm not going to date myself, but I grew up before Instagram was anything. I went to high school without no Facebook. So for me, I think that it really made it so that when I entered this career that I did have example of life without and life with, and, helped keep me grounded. I feel sick for people. I couldn't imagine if I had to go through high school with Instagram. I could not imagine what that would have done to me, knowing like how high school was for me already.
Even your preteen years when you're so sensitive to everything and the way you look and you look at these people and you say, it will never be me.
Yeah.
That won't ever be me.
It can, it could be anyone. And it's interesting. My mom texted me the other day and she didn't tell a story, and she sent me a picture of Kris Jenner, Chloe, and
Martha Stewart.
And she was like, look how they look. Like, I think you were saying they look overdone, but then
they look nothing like themselves.
So
absolutely nothing like themselves.
So the photo was like very overly edited, and I kind of like showed my mom how that could be manipulated because I wanted her to know that that's not something to compare yourself to. And so like I was explaining to her, like, there's apps I could do that. I can make you look just like that in 1 second with a click of a button on an app. So don't look at it. But I think, let me just say, I think the interesting thing here is that comparison on social media spans all the generations. We all do it, from preteens to my mom, to me, to everyone.
Yeah.
I look at it like, is this a good thing?
No, yeah.
Is this a good thing that we've done to people?
There's Linda's thoughts on social media.
Yeah. And I love it. I come from the world of advertising years ago when I was working in different areas of advertising. I know that today advertising is social media. Social media is advertising. And that's great.
It's a very different,
but I do look at the negative side of it, which is we look at these people and we just, oh my gosh, their clothes and their hair. How does their hair ever look? Well, they're wearing extensions. Yeah. The clothes, they're probably mostly given to them. The lips, they're injected. The makeup, it's all a facade.
Totally. No. And I think that's, important for anyone on social media to keep that in mind, because the comparison game is dangerous. And I think that, this has been happening forever. It's just never had such a look at it inside people's lives.
Right.
We've never seen what a celebrity's life looks like from the inside, from their own accounts.
And oftentimes I will say to myself when I hear something ridiculous about, oh, so-and-so, Machine Gun Kelly just loves his little daughter, Cassie. Well, who the hell doesn't love their daughter? Do I care that Machine Gun Kelly is really fond of his 12-year-old? No. But these things become top of mind and top of the news.
Mhm.
And then I think, what the heck do we care?
Right.
I mean,
But
you
we
know,
do.
I mean, if Courtney
do.
wants to jump
Yeah.
on Travis all through Europe, you know, do it.
But you
But-
watch it. You're consuming it. So I
Well,
think that's
I'm looking at it because they don't let me out of it.
Mhm.
You get on your news feed, you get on any sort of social media page,
yeah.
and it's there. It's there. It's
No,
always.
totally.
So I don't know where this goes.
Yeah.
I don't
Yeah,
know.
I
where
love what you're
it goes.
saying about marketing and how, this has always been here. And like, I kind of feel the same about the editing, like there has always been Photoshop. There's always been retouching. There's always been glam and makeup.
Right.
And the accessibility of it now is just so large. Like, I remember when she must have been 12 and I was in college, and my little cousin showed me how she could edit a photo because I didn't know how. And I was like, you did this better than I did. Because the accessibility is just so there. And it's a huge part of like what we talk about on this podcast. Like, I'm so focused on like debunking Instagram, or just like what we think is that it thing, which is such a prevalent thing because we're all obsessed with it. Like, like, do I care about Machine Gun Kelly's daughter? No, but I look at it on Daily Mail and I go, oh, that's cute. Like,
exactly.
Right.
It's very
we're all
addictive.
consumers. We're all consumers, and it's just the instant accessibility to everyone else's world.
Yeah.
Totally.
On
that note too, is there something about the weed industry you'd like to debunk kind of for us?
Wow.
The weed industry.
Well, I think in a lot of ways that's happening organically, because as I go into dispensaries, I look around and I'm not the only mom there. I'm debunking the stigma of going into a dispensary and actually buying drugs. That sort of, yes. So I see it as it becomes more and more of a maybe like a trip to the
drugstore,
to the liquor store.
Yeah.
Now, again, we're in California.
Yeah.
I don't know how other states are dealing. I'm sure it's the same way in Colorado, I would think, and in some of these progressive states that it's just become common. You go down the street, you see a green cross. You can be a grandmother who's going in for CBD, or you can be, a kid who's going in for cannabis oil.
Yeah.
But I do think it is, quote, debunking as time goes on. It's natural.
Yeah. I mean, I think the industry itself and the progression of the industry is like just showing that like this is not some illicit drug. And
I think
I think that what I love to see in the industry is, and I'll go back to it, I love to see when people of color are being entrepreneurs in this industry and taking it back. And there's a lot of the dispensaries I go into. Also, I think this is another thing to look at on the back. They'll tell you if they support, different initiatives. That's always something I look at. And I love to see women taking this industry. I love to see women, and, because this has been a male driven industry for years. And so I really like to see women entering this space and doing really cool things with it. And just, showing that you can run a successful cannabis business. Like, you can do it and love cannabis. Like, those things can go hand in hand. And I think that some of the businesses that are coming out of this, legalization, it just shows the creative power in the cannabis industry, that people consuming cannabis are incredibly talented and creative, and their brands are popping off.
Can be.
I love
Can be.
Yeah.
Sure. I mean, like any other industry.
Yeah.
Right.
I know that we went to some trade shows, and a few years ago, particularly, and you could see, I mean, very few women are there to do anything.
Well, that was a couple years ago.
Yeah. Now it would be different.
Yeah. And I think that there's still that dated aesthetic And I think there will be, because that's what men consume. Like, you know, my husband obviously doesn't. Like, for me, this is the perfect example. I would love, like, you know, a pink bong if I was going to have a bong in my house that's not clear glass, because I don't want to see the water.
You don't want to see it get dirty.
I don't want to see it get dirty. My husband never would ever get an opaque bong because he needs to see when it's dirty so he can clean it. And so, like, you know, that aesthetic, that's his aesthetic. And he's, you know, he's much more of like a smoke shop guy, but that's why we're here doing what we're doing, because there needs to be something geared towards the person who just doesn't want to see that dirty water.
Exactly.
Yeah. As well as, you know, just the whole idea that you're probably not hiding it these days like you used to have to put it in a locked drawer. And
yeah, I mean, like,
it's more of a social thing. Friends come over, you want to drink. I mean, I hate to say it, but if it's no, well, you want to smoke a joint, why not?
Yeah, why not that option? At our wedding, we had a joint bar, I'd like to say.
I'm stealing that.
Yeah.
So,
Joint bar.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was adorable.
It was genius. Yeah.
Yeah.
We
and
had
also, like, you need to kick that hangover out.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. We had a regular bar, but because who we are, we have a lot of people who prefer to smoke cannabis. We also live in California again. So we had a regular bar. Then we also offered, like, we had can drinks, you know, and then we had, I forget the brand, but we had a few like wines, but they weren't alcohol. They were weed wines. So we had that option for the bar. We also had regular liquor and beer and drinks. And then we had the joint bar, which was all pre-rolled joints. We got a ton of little selfie joints. So they were little. Everyone had their own joints. So there was no need to share them. And they're like an inch long. And then we had Fashion Kush weed, their joint holders, and their gold ring with a pearl. And so we sell those at Fashion
It was a
Kush.
wedding. So you want to,
But all the guests, all the guests had their little joint holder at the table, and the vibes were immaculate. I mean, there was nothing more I preferred than sitting at my wedding table with my husband cheersing, and then seeing people like with their joints and lighting a joint. I was like, this is it. Like, this was the vibe.
That's so cool.
And then I'd also throw in the medical aspect, because that's real important. The medical aspect of marijuana and legalization of it. It has a tremendous amount of
benefits,
of medical benefits, proven.
Yeah.
So,
and what are the medical benefits of alcohol? I'm still waiting for those ones.
Yeah, waiting.
I can't imagine, unless you want a nice big fat ruddy complexion.
Yeah.
If you drink enough, you might get one. But yeah, there's a lot of medicinal benefits as well.
Which is just like, so that, you know, that's just the perfect example, is like alcohol is so widely accepted, but smoking a joint with your mom still, for some people, is like, ooh, as they're drinking their glass of wine, like, you know, and it's like, it's just never been, I've never been a real drinker. She's never been a real drinker. No one in my family is like a real drinker. It's just, we have a different preference.
Yeah. Not that we don't drink wine. We're not goofy.
No, we'll drink a glass of wine. But at Thanksgiving, you know, we pass around a joint at the table. That's what we do.
Right. And that is and should be completely acceptable from here on till the end
we
of time.
Still giggle about it. I mean, it's not like, you know, I mean, you know, you still giggle and you still say, isn't this cool that we can do this?
Yeah. Because it is.
I mean, I still walk into dispensaries and go, 2 years ago, the dispensary around the corner was like getting shut down every week and raided by the police. Like, and now the dispensary literally looks like an Apple store.
Yeah. Yeah, there's one by me that's very Instagrammable too.
Yeah.
Like, wow, we're really making this, you know, which is cool. I feel
some of them are big chains over California now.
MedMen,
you know, so many locations and so nice. So yeah, it's a different world.
Yeah,
it is a different world.
Like we're saying, weed has changed so much over the years, and like it's opened so many doors, and I'm so glad to see you guys in a space like this. It's so fun and great to hear about the inner workings of all you're doing. What is next for you guys? What are you working on? Tell us.
Well, we've got the collaboration coming up with the Last Prisoner Project, which we're really, really excited about, just to raise awareness and bring some education to that. We also we're working on a collaborative project with our Fashion Kush artists, but we can't really expand on that yet. But we've got some things coming, more hard goods, more soft goods, summer collection, the Last Prisoner Project collection. And I mean, we still have right now in the shop, we've got our standards collection, our Successful Stoner Club collection, our Angel Numbers collection, the hard goods. We've got a lot going on.
I'm getting a headache. Should we smoke a joint?
We should. And potentially, maybe we'll start our own podcast one of these days.
Oh my God, you guys should. The duo the energy between you two is so good.
Well, if we do, would you be on it?
Oh, are you kidding? I would be honored. I would literally come to you. Like,
amazing.
That is in stone.
Amazing.
Yeah, exactly. And we can smoke a joint after.
Yeah, perfect. Can't
Tell
wait.
us everybody where we can find you guys.
You can find me on Instagram at Fashion Lush, on TikTok at Fashion Lush, and www.fashionlush.com for the blog, the archives, the wedding, the joint bar. That is all there. Fashion Kush at Fashion Kush on Instagram and TikTok, and www.
Where are they going to find me?
I'm getting there. www.fashionkush.com to shop. And then you can find Linda at Lit with Linda on Instagram.
We love it.
Or sometimes I'm at TJ Maxx, or I'll go over to Marshall's. I can't say which location, but some of you have found me there.
Oh my God, stop. Don't tell me that. I'll come stalk you because I have to literally go there.
Oh, I need TJ Maxx.
They have found me.
She's often found at the TJ Maxx.
Well, thank you guys so much for being on the podcast.
That was amazing.
I appreciated it so much.
Thank you. That was so much fun.
Enjoyed it. That was a lot of fun, and I'm happy to
come back
to spread the word.
Oh my God, yeah, come back anytime.
Up this field and for other people to enjoy. Damn, smoking a joint with your kid, your college age kid,
your kid,
college age kid.
There we go.
It's kind of nice.
Thank you guys so much for listening.
Thank you.